Hello, happy Friday, everybody. It's nice to see names up there. Glad you're with me. For anybody who either checks this out via recording later or who has popped in and isn't on my radar yet or not on my screen, I'm Rachel, physical therapist and Pilates instructor locally. This is a 45-minute flow style Pilates Matwork class. We work a little bit of balance, a little bit of a little bit of everything, a lot of core, a lot of shoulders, a lot of thighs, a lot of glutes. Move at your own pace. We don't do any one particular exercise for any, huge length of time. So if you do need to stop and kind of regroup and just take a few breaths listening to what I'm saying, if it's not making sense, absolutely feel free to stop and just catch us on the next exercise. If at any point anything we're doing does not feel good for you in your body at this particular moment in time, even if it felt great last time you practiced it, I want you to stop, take stock, maybe modify a little bit to do something that's a little more comfortable for you, and we can talk about it later. I'm happy to address any questions. If you guys have a couple of questions at the end of class, I could stick around for a couple of minutes and answer those. But let's go ahead and get started. We're going to stand on our mats to start. And I will start my timer as soon as I get to my mat. So here we go. We're starting in 3, 2, and 1. Let's get those feet a little bit wider apart than our shoulders. We're going to settle down into our heels and turn those toes out to the sides just a touch. That'll let us get our weight over our feet in a way that's comfortable for the knees. Let's rock back and forth. We'll rock toward the heels and rock toward the toes. And I want you to focus on keeping that big toe firmly pressed into the floor and that heel firmly pressed into the floor. Maybe we think about pressing that pinky toe into the floor as well. This keeps our arches lifted and gives us a nice stable base of support to move through. Let's come right back over those heels again, and we're going to soften our knees a touch. That lets us drop a little plumb line from that tailbone down right between the heels, and then we have a corresponding crown of the head string reaching us all the way up to the ceiling. If we think about someone pulling on that plumb line and also pulling on the string at the crown of the head, that's going to get us nice and tall, light on our feet, and we want to get the sensation that we're lifting our rib cage and breastbone up off of that pelvis. So nice long waistline. Let's take our belly and our spine and think about drawing them toward each other. We're compressing ourselves just a touch in that front to back to front direction. Let's hold that activity, drawing that belly button back toward the spine. And we'll take a big breath in, arms come up and overhead. Exhale the arms out to the sides and then down by the body. Again, big breath in, arms up. Let's clasp our palms, press them up to the ceiling, getting those elbows as straight as you're comfortable getting them. And we can drop our shoulder blades down toward the floor. This is going to get us a nice stretch through the outer portions of those shoulder blades. If you feel a lot of pulling through that upper arm or into the forearm, definitely feel free to bend the elbows a little bit on both sides. We're going to keep that core engaged as we take some nice tall side bends up and over on a little bit of a diagonal. We're reaching our palms up toward where the wall and ceiling meet on either side. And as we sway side to side, keeping that core active, we'll notice that we're moving from above the belly button. That lower half of the body staying nice and still. As we lengthen over to one side, let's pause there. Feel that core working, particularly on that top side, the side we're moving away from. Maybe we take that other arm and drop it down toward our same side pinky. Give ourselves a little stretch. And then we could think about reaching those fingertips toward that opposite heel. Lengthen out through that trunk a little more. Big breath in, everything comes back up to the ceiling, clasp those palms again. And we'll do the same thing to our other side. We're gonna pause in that nice lengthened side bend. Feel the top side of the body opening up and also controlling that motion. We can drop the arm on the side we're moving toward, first toward those toes, and then toward that opposite heel if you want to add a little more reach. We'll inhale the arms to the ceiling. This time we'll exhale them out till those hands are lined up with our shoulders. And let's make some little circles. We're reaching our pinkies, our index fingers, ring fingers, middle fingers out toward that wall out to either side. Stretch those fingertips as far apart from each other as we can. I'm short. I don't have a very long wingspan here, but I'm going to try to lengthen my wingspan out as I circle. Roll the shoulders for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. We're going to pause with those arms in that nice T shape. Drop the collarbones, drop those shoulder blades toward the floor, and let's pulse the shoulder blades back, squeezing them together toward each other. Back, squeeze and release, pulse for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Arms are going to come down by our sides. We can give those shoulder blades a little circle. We'll take them up, back, and down. And again, up, back, and down. One more time. Up to the ears, back and toward each other, and down toward those heels. Let's walk our feet in. We're going to now bring our heels lined up with our sit bones. So the feet are parallel to each other now. And that base of support is shifted slightly forward of where it was when those feet were apart. So our weight is right over the front of those ankle bones. We're going to lift our toes up. Feel the arches lift just like they did when we shifted our weight to the heels and to the big toe when those toes were turned out to the side. As the toes lift, those arches stay lifted as well. We'll spread those toes apart from each other and let's see if we can tap them down one at a time, outside to inside. Start with those pinkies, roll all the way through to that big toe. Lift, spread, take them down. Pressing those big toes into the floor. We're going to soften our knees a touch and take our hands right to our midsection. We're using gravity and physics to help us kick in that trunk without us even having to think much about it. We're going to shift our weight toward our toes and toward our heels, keeping the whole foot on the floor. Big toe, pinky toe, and heel provide that nice triangular base of support on either side. And as we shift forward and back, feel the difference. Feel what's turning on and what's turning off as we roll through different ranges of that base of support. As we hit the end, as we hit the toes and hit those heels, we'll feel the core kick in a little more firmly. Let's take our weight right back over those ankle bones. We'll move our fingertips to the sides of the waistline and the thumbs to the back of the waistline. Drop those shoulders, keep them relaxed. And now let's shift our weight from foot to foot. Push the floor away with your feet. That belly's drawn toward the spine. And as we load one side, we should feel our core kick in a little bit differently on each side. We'll feel some muscles tightening in order to keep that trunk nice and still. Let's make some circles around that base of support. We're moving out of those ankle joints, the head, the neck, the spine, the hips, the knees. Those are all staying nice and still as we orient our body around different points in that base. Let's take it and circle the other way. Again, we'll feel those core muscles turn on and off under our fingertips, under our thumbs. Good. Let's shift toward the toes. We're going to hover our heels up off the floor. We want to keep the weight forward at the balls of the feet now. As we hover those heels, they don't have to lift up much, just a little unweighting. We will feel those core muscles tighten. Even if you do nothing else, if that trunk is nice and still and lined up with the legs, those core muscles are doing some work. We'll hold for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's lower the heels, shift the weight back over the middle of the foot, and let's widen our base of support again. This time, bring in the feet just underneath those shoulders. We're going to take our hands to the fold in the hips. We're going to send the tailbone back and the breastbone and crown of the head forward just slightly. So we have a little bit of a bend through those hips. The rest of the body is staying nice and stationary. Now we're going to take our hands and place them on our glutes. We're getting those glutes prepared for all the work we're going to do in a little bit. Keeping the hands right on those hip bones, on those glutes, we're going to shift our weight from foot to foot. Stick the tailbone back behind you. Keep your weight over the front of the ankle. If you feel this in your knees, shift your weight back just a touch closer to the heels. Feel those muscles kick into your hand as you load one side. And as we transfer to the other side, the tightness transfers to the other leg. Let's take them side to side. Shift for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. We'll come right back to neutral, taking our hands right back to the fold in the hips. Let's tip that tailbone back a little further, tip the crown of the head forward a little more. So we have close to a parallel orientation of the body. We can have it up just a touch. Find the first point of resistance behind the backs of the thighs. When you start to feel a little bit of stretch or even a little bit of just resistance to movement, that's where we're going to hold it here. We're going to shoot our arms straight down toward the floor. Arms are vertical. Let's squeeze our blades and row. Elbows come toward our trunk. Release to the floor. Squeeze and row. Release to the floor. Let's repeat here. Squeeze and release. Here's 3. Last 2. Row again for 1, and we're going to press those elbows straight. Tighten those triceps. Release those forearms. Press the elbows straight. Let them release. Let's repeat. Here's 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. And here's 1. Let's take our hands right to our hips. We're going to pop ourselves up nice and tall. Shake those legs out. And let's make that quarter turn so we're lengthwise on our mat. We're going to be making our way down to the mat now. So if you want to back up toward the back corner, back edges. If you do want something under your knees to pad up the area when we're on hands and knees, you're welcome to go grab a rolled up towel, or we can double our mat over to give a little extra padding. But let's take our hands right to the fold in the hips again. We're going to tip the body forward, crown of the head toward the wall in front, tailbone toward the wall behind. Let's extend our arms down to the mat. Bend the knees until we can get those hands to the floor. Keep the balls of the feet on the floor as we draw those knees down till we end up in that all 4 quadruped position. From here, we're gonna rock the bottom back toward the heels. Give those soles of the feet a little stretch, and then pull the body nice and tall. Press the heels of the hands forward toward the front of your mat as the bottom comes back. Pull back up to all fours. One more time, press the bottom back. Pull to all fours. We're gonna turn the tops of the feet down toward the floor, and let's curl through cat. Curl that belly button to the ceiling. Shorten the pubic bone toward that breastbone, look toward those thighs. Let's lengthen and reverse to cow, sending that tailbone toward the ceiling and the breastbone toward the wall in front of you. Let's roll through those positions through a range that feels comfortable to you. We might keep it mid-range if your body's not super happy with those end ranges. If you feel too much pulling, too much compression, keep it 50%. Keep it 25% if you need. Sometimes it's just like wiggling a stuck drawer and getting those joints moving. One more time, curl, reverse. Let's take that trunk right back to neutral, and with the upper body nice and still, we'll wag our tail side to side. Take a hip to each shoulder, folding in half from those obliques, those side trunk muscles in the front of the trunk. We're gonna pause right in the middle. Our feet come together, take the knees apart. Let's lower the bottom back toward the heels, pressing the heels of the hands forward. We're gonna walk or slide our hands toward the front of the mat. Keep those elbows straight as long as you can. I want you to feel a nice stretch under the armpits, maybe to the outer borders of those shoulder blades. If you feel uncomfortable in the tops of your shoulders, or you feel pulling down the forearms, I want you to bend those elbows, put some slack back in the system. Wherever we are from here, we're gonna draw that forehead down to the floor and take a big breath in. Exhale, wrap those shoulder blades forward toward the floor. We're gonna feel a nice stretch through the armpits, whether those elbows are bent or straight. Let's hold here, and as we inhale, feel those ribs in the back of the body open up away from each other. Stretch those muscles between them. Exhaling, we'll bend our elbows if they've been straight. We're going to shift our weight over those forearms, and let's extend our legs back behind the body. Draw that belly toward the spine as we come to rest on our upper thighs. We're going to keep our shoulders away from our ears. That belly's drawn up toward the spine. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and then press them toward the floor. Squeeze them together, press toward the floor. Let's repeat here. Squeeze and press for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Hold at the top. Let's take a big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to make our way down to the mat and onto our back. So we'll tuck one arm under, bend up those knees, and let's take our hands right down by our sides and bend the knees up till our heels line up with our sit bones. They're 6 to 8 inches away from our buttocks right now, and the knees are a few inches apart from each other. So hips, knees, and the middle of the ankles are nice and lined up with each other. Let's picture that pelvic clock right in our midsection here. 12 by the breastbone, 6 by that pubic bone, 3 and 9 on either side, depending on your orientation to your screen. We're going to keep our shoulders pressed gently down into the floor so we open up those collarbones. And let's curl that pelvis toward 12 o'clock. Pubic bone shortens toward breastbone. Let's lengthen it away toward that mat. Curl to 12. Lengthen to 6. What happens if we keep those glutes out of it? Let's see if we can control that, how far we can move if we let our abdominals do the work. Curl to 12. Lengthen to 6. One more time. Let's curl to 12. Let's lengthen to 6. We'll take that pelvis right back to neutral. If I had a bowl of water in it, it wouldn't slosh anywhere. Now we're going to take that pelvis and move it toward the screen and away. We're rotating here. So that hip bone closest to the screen is going to lower down toward the mat as the opposite hip bone translates toward the ceiling. Let's roll through. Feel how your feet have to press a little bit unevenly into the floor. Press firmly into the floor on the side where that hip is lifting, and then reverse it. Take that pelvis from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. One more time. Rock it to 3. Rock it to 9. Take it to neutral. Big breath in, and exhale. We'll draw that belly to the spine. We're going to take the heels of our hands now and press them right into those hip bones. Let the elbows rest comfortably on the mat and try to keep those shoulders down as best you can. I just want to keep you from tipping them all the way up to the ceiling, because we want to keep that chest nice and open. We're going to keep the core engaged. Lift those toes. Let's walk our heels toward the bottom edge of the mat, straightening out those knees. Walk them out, and then walk those heels back toward the glutes. Focus through what you're feeling on those hands. We want to feel that pelvis staying nice and still. I want those hip bones to stay stationary as you can. Keep them. We want to feel that core engaging to control the position of the pelvis in that forward and back direction as well. We're going to walk the heels forward. Walk them back toward that bent knee position. Once the heels are 6 to 8 inches away from those glutes, we shouldn't be able to touch them with our fingertips, but they should be getting kind of close. We're going to lower the toes, take a big breath in, and draw the belly to the spine on that exhale. Let's lift one knee up to 90 degrees, and we'll take our other knee up to meet in tabletop. 90 degrees at the hips, 90 degrees at those knees. Shins are parallel to the ceiling. We could balance something on them. Let's take our hands and press them firmly into the front of our thighs. Gently but firmly, about 25% of whatever pressure you think you could generate. As we continue to press the hands and thighs toward each other, feel that midsection activate, breastbone all the way down to pubic bone. We're keeping that belly drawn toward the spine, and let's wiggle those knees. We'll straighten to the ceiling, bend them back to that tabletop position. Straighten and bend, straighten and bend. Let's straighten those knees toward the ceiling. Again, activating the back of the thighs. We're going to stretch those arms forward to the wall in front, keeping our hands several inches above the floor. Keep that core engaged as we nod the chin. From here, we're going to pat our hands up and down, bouncing them like we're bouncing little tiny basketballs. Let's inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. We're going to keep this pattern going for 20 breaths. It takes a little while here. If you need to put some slack back in the system, we could bend those knees to tabletop. We could always drop 1 or 2 feet back down the mat for a little more assistance, a little more stability. Conversely, as we breathe it in and out, we could also make it more challenging. Stretch those feet up to where the wall and ceiling meet. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Let's flip our palms up. We're going to press the air to the ceiling now. Keep that chin knotted. I think that's the hardest part of this exercise, is to keep that neck out of the mix here. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. If those legs are straight, maybe one comes down to hover just slightly off the floor. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch those legs. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Bring that leg to the ceiling. Everybody come back to tabletop. One final breath in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe it out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's pull that knee farthest from the screen all the way into the chest. Draw the belly down, and we're going to slide that near leg all the way out along the mat. We'll tighten up that thigh on the straight leg, and let's stir our hip in its socket gently. Rock that knee side to side. Take it back to the center. Keep those shoulders rolled back and down and that belly engaged, and we're going to hover our straight leg off the floor. Let's roll it in circles. Draw some circles on that wall in front of you. Keep it going. Everything else stays still, but that femur rolling in its socket. And let's take it the other direction. Circle for 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll return it to midline, and now we'll take it side to side, out to the screen, back to the center. Out to the screen and back to the center. Twice more. Last one, out to the side, back to the middle. Big breath in. As we exhale, switch it up. Pull that knee into the chest. Keep that belly engaged. Slide that other leg out nice and straight. We'll drop that heel to the floor, tightening up the quad. And let's stir that hip in its socket a little. We'll take it out to the side, back to the center. As always, take it through a range that's working for you. If you feel pinching or an uncomfortable pulling, back off on that range. Bringing that knee right back to the center. Let's reset that belly a little closer to the spine. And we're going to lift that foot up off the floor, stretching it forward. Let's circle those toes, reach them toward the wall for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Breathe it in. Exhaling, take it the other way. Circle for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Return it back to that midline hovered position. Straight leg goes side to side. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring that leg to the center. We're going to lower our heel to the mat, hang on behind the thigh, and let's stretch that leg up to the ceiling and bend that knee. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, take the slack back into the system. Exhale, straighten and hold. Let's take our hands to the ceiling. We're going to drop the blades, drop those belly buttons, and let's take our lifted leg out to the side, up to the center. Exhale away from midline. Inhale to the center. We could hover that supporting leg up off the floor if you want to increase the challenge. If we need, again, a little slack back in the system, bend that moving leg or bend that stable leg, stationary leg. Let's make some circles on the ceiling. Reach those toes up through your rafters. There's 4. Here's 3. Feel free to make that circle a little bigger. You could also go a little faster or slower than me. Do what's working for you, and we'll circle it the other way. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower that hovered leg, hang on behind the thigh. We'll give that knee a little pull into the chest, and let's rock it across to the other wall. Let that hip lift up a little bit. We mellow out that low back, getting tension out of those muscles that we can, and take it right back to the middle. Keeping the core engaged, we're gonna draw that other knee in. Slide the leg we just stretched all the way out along the mat. We'll switch our grip to hold behind the thigh, and then let's straighten and bend that knee, easing up into our hamstring stretch for that second leg. Straighten and bend. Straighten to that first point of resistance. Maybe we flex and point a little bit with those toes. Point the toes, hover that supporting leg up off the floor if you can, and those arms float to the ceiling. Again, we'll drop our blades, drop the belly, and let's take that lifted leg side to side. Try to keep those hip bones pointed like laser pointers, like headlights right up to the ceiling. We've got 2 more. Last one. Make some circles. Good. Again, a little faster, a little slower is fine. Bend those knees or keep them as straight as you can. Lots of options, lots of progressions, lots of modifications. Breathe it in at the top. Let's take it the other way. Circle for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hang on behind that thigh. We're going to keep those legs straight. Rolling the shoulders back and down. We'll reset that core, and let's switch our legs. Inhale and lift that leg straight as we can to the ceiling. Stretch the other one down to our hover. Inhale and lift. Switch the grip. Exhale and switch. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Let's pull those knees into the chest. Give them a hug and rock that body side to side. Big breath in. Exhaling. Come right back to the center. We're going to take our knees back up to that 90-degree position, both at the hips and the knees. Take those hands to the ceiling. We're going to take that arm closest to the screen back overhead as we press our other leg forward. And let's switch up to our other side. Biggest goal here is to keep that head, the mid back between those shoulder blades, and that sacrum firmly planted into the mat. If we need to take a little pressure off, we press that straight leg a little bit closer to where the wall and ceiling meet. To make it more challenging, we press toward the middle of the wall. And that final challenge will be to hover that leg straight as we can, as close to the floor as we can get it. Let's switch them for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's sweep those legs to tabletop, arms to the ceiling, flex up those feet. Drawing the belly to the spine, let's tip a heel to the floor and back up. Tip the other heel to the floor and back up. We can keep this pattern going. We could also extend those arms back to where the wall and ceiling meet. Challenge those upper abdominals a little more. Switch it for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to tabletop, arms to the ceiling. Big breath in. As we exhale, arms come back, feet come forward. Both of them together if you can. We'll inhale them back to the ceiling. Exhale, open forward and back away from the body. Inhale to the ceiling. Exhale to the floor. Inhale and lift. One more time. We're going to exhale those heels to the floor. Leave them there as we stretch our arms back overhead. Let's open the arms out to a T. Let's snow angel them down by our sides. We'll press palms into the floor, dropping those collarbones. We'll take our toes to the floor and let's walk those heels toward the bottom. Let's curl 12 to 6 through that pelvic clock. Good. Take it back to neutral. Let's rock 3 to 9 through that pelvic clock. Take it back to neutral, keeping that belly engaged. Walk those heels just a touch closer to the rear end and we'll prepare to bridge. Inhale. Keeping those thighs, those hips, those knees and those ankles lined up with each other. Let's press through our heels and lift to bridge. We're going for a straight diagonal from the knees to the hips to those shoulders. Keep that diagonal, keep that length as we bend from the hips and come down. Let's press up and down through that range at a pace that's working for you. Feel those glutes work. Feel that core stay engaged. Maybe the hands come to the pelvis for a little bit of monitoring. I'll leave that up to you. Lift and lower. Let's press up to bridge and hold it there. Keeping those hips nice and still, let's go up and down on our toes. As those heels come down, we'll get a little length through the front of the thighs. Keep it going. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Squeeze those glutes, pulse into the ceiling for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold for 1. Big breath in. Exhale, lengthen down out of that bridge, releasing the glutes at the bottom, and we'll rock our knees toward the screen and away. Let's take a few breaths here. Inhale and exhale. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's bring those knees right back up toward the center. We'll reset the belly to the spine. Big breath in. Exhale, press up into bridge. Keeping those big toes on the floor, we're going to take both knees away from the center and then bring them back to midline. Exhale, knees come toward the wall and the screen. Exhale them together. Repeat. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees come together. Now one at a time. One knee comes out toward that screen and then back to the middle. Opposite one comes out and back to the center. Keep it going. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Take them to the middle, breathing in. Exhale, lengthen down out of that bridge, releasing the glutes at the bottom. Again, we'll rock those knees side to side. Take a few deep breaths here, regroup. One more breath, taking those legs side to side. We'll take those knees back up to the center. We're going to press back up into our bridge. Exhale, press through those heels. Let's finish our bridging series with some marching. One knee to tabletop. Float it back down with control. And switch. You are welcome to move through at a pace that's working for you. Our goal here is to keep those hips lifted the same amount on each side as we march. We're working rotational stability. A lot of work through those glutes. Switch them off. Let's press both feet into the floor. We'll take a big breath in. Exhale, bridging down one final time. Release to that 12-6 pelvic clock position. Big breaths in, big breaths out. Take it back to neutral. Pelvis goes from 3 to 9. Again, in through the nose, breathe it out through the mouth. Take it to neutral. We're going to cross that leg closest to the screen over to the other knee. Lift into figure 4 if you can. If that foot stays on the floor, that's okay. All right, let's go ahead and rock the body away from that cross leg side. Inhale. Exhale, take it back to the middle. Switch it up. Ankle to knee. Pull back up into that figure 4 if you can. Whether the heel is up or down, we're going to rock away from that cross leg side. One more breath. Let's take it back to the middle. Unwind. Draw those knees in. Everything comes back to the mat. Let's turn ourselves over to hands and knees. All right, we are right there. Wrists and shoulders lined up, knees and hips lined up. Let's press our blades toward the floor. We'll curl through 2 cats and 2 cows, resetting our position now that we've changed from our back. Take it back to neutral and let's squeeze those shoulder blades together behind the back. Keep that core engaged. Press the blades forward toward the floor. Squeeze and press. Let's keep this pattern going. If you want to make it more challenging, we walk forward on our mats. Bring those knees back to a plank on the knees position. Or one final step, we could come up into a full plank, pressing through the balls of the feet. Squeeze and press for 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees come down if they've been up. And let's move to single arm. We'll take that hand closest to the screen, press it into the thigh. Keep those shoulders squared as we press through that opposite shoulder blade. Good. Squeeze and press for 3, for 2, for 1. Let's take that second hand down. Other hand comes up to the thigh. Square off those shoulders. We'll squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. That second hand comes down. Thread the needle. Arm closest to the screen comes out to the side. Look over that shoulder. Reach the hand through to the other wall. Look toward that other wall over your opposite shoulder. Inhale, arm comes up and out. Exhale, we thread. One more time on this side. Arm comes up and out. Exhale and thread. Take it right back to all fours. Repeat on the other side. Navel to spine, opposite arm inhales, look toward the wall. Exhale, thread through, looking toward that screen. Again, inhale, arm comes up and out. Exhale, thread. One more time, arm comes up and out. Exhale, thread. Take it right back to the center. We're gonna curl through cat, release to cow, come back to neutral, wag that tail. Take it right back to the center. Let's move to our shoulder taps. One hand comes to the opposite shoulder, elbow bends. Take it back down and switch. I want you to imagine something balanced in the small of your back, something you don't want to lose. We should feel our core working for that rotational stability as we alternate the arms. If you need to make this more challenging, again, we walk our hands forward and our knees back, come into that high plank on the knees. We'll feel this go a little more to the lower abdominals, a little more to that pelvis. Final progression, we could come up into plank if you'd like. Bring those feet a little wider apart than those arms. Mine are about as wide as my mat. Switch it for 4, for 3. It is perfectly fine to have those knees down or to be in all fours at this point. Knees come down. Let's curl through cat, release to cow. Take it back to neutral. Everybody's gonna bring those feet back. We're gonna come into our high plank and then take that tailbone to the ceiling. It's okay if the knees bent. We're loading ourselves in as much shoulder overhead position as we can. Our goal is to get those shoulders in a position where the elbows and ears are lined up. Drop those heels to the floor. If this does not feel wonderful for you, you are welcome to have those knees down, and we bring that forehead toward the floor on all our knees. Wherever we are, we're gonna hold here. Press to the floor, draw the belly in. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take it forward. Knees come down. Walk those wrists back so they're right under the shoulders. We're gonna extend one leg back behind the body and press the other arm forward, lengthen away. Come back through the middle and extend, opposite arm and leg reach. Let's switch through side to side at a pace that's working for you. Good. Let's hold our next one. Opposite arm and leg are out. See if we can switch hands. That lifted hand comes down. Shift the weight toward it. Come up on the opposite fingertips. Maybe we can take that arm up. Switch through, opposite arm. Leg stays nice and still. Switch again. Switch again. One more time. Let's take that hand down. That knee comes down. Big breath in. Switch it on the exhale. Opposite leg comes back. Take the other arm forward. Switch it up. Shift and lift. And lift. Keep it moving at your own pace. It's okay if you just get the weight shift. Maybe we get the fingertips up. Maybe that arm lifts all the way up. We're always kind of working toward that next goal. Good. Let's take our hand down. Let's take that knee down. Curl to cat. Release to cow. Take it to neutral. Wag that tail. We're going to pause with that hip tilted toward the screen. Cross the opposite foot over. Cross that foot toward your screen. Maybe we can grab onto it. Bend the elbow a little bit. We're bringing our foot toward our shoulder, opening up the opposite side of the waistline. Big breath. Breathing out, switch it up. Opposite hip to the wall. Other foot crosses over. Look over that shoulder, grab onto that foot. Give the waistline a stretch on the side facing the screen. Big breath in. Breathing out, unwind. We'll come right back to the middle. Feet come together, knees come apart. Bottom comes down toward the heels. Let's walk our hands toward that front of the mat. Open up those underarms again, dropping into bent elbow position if you need to put some slack back in the system. Let's walk our hands toward our screen. We'll pause hand over hand, breathe it in. Exhale, switch it to the other side. Hand over hand, big breath in. On the exhale, our arms come forward. We're going to drop our forearms. Just like in the beginning of class, we're going to shift over them and we'll take those legs back behind the body. We're keeping that belly drawn toward the spine. We're keeping that 12 o'clock pelvic tilt going. Let's see if we could bend and straighten one knee. Get a little length through the front of the quads. We can go nice and slow. Goal here is to keep that low back in the same position as we bend the knees. Maybe we speed it up a little, give it a double kick. That's up to you. One more to each side. Maybe we take them both together. They might bend farther than you think. They might not want to bend. Do your best. Twice more. One at a time is perfectly acceptable. All right, legs come down. We're gonna push our hips back, crawl those knees forward, and we're gonna come up into a tall kneeling position. Now, if you do need more padding for your legs, again, feel free to double your mat up or add your towel roll under those tops of those shins. We're gonna curl our pelvis toward that 12 o'clock position, a little flattening, a little opening through that low back. With the hands onto hips, we're gonna take the foot closest to the screen, bring it in front. We're in a half kneeling position. Squeeze that back cheek. See if you can bring your front knee forward towards your toes. We're gonna feel that nice hip flexor stretch on the opposite side. Let's hold. We're gonna bring our arms up to the ceiling. We're gonna hold. Big breath in, big breath out. Now, if you wanna add a balance challenge, feel free to look up to the ceiling. Look forward if you've been looking up. Our hands come right back to the hips. Let's switch it up. We're gonna bring that second knee down, curl that pelvis to 12 o'clock. Opposite foot comes forward. Squeeze that cheek closest to the screen and translate that front knee toward the toes. We'll feel that front of the hip opening up on that back leg. Keeping that core active, we're gonna take our arms to the ceiling, nice and tall. Elbows and ears are lined up as best we can. If you need to bend the elbows a little bit to get there, that's okay. And if you wanna add that balance challenge, look up towards your fingertips, look toward that ceiling. Big breath in. Exhaling, we'll bring those arms forward, right down to the knees. And let's go ahead and turn ourselves toward our screen. Again, adjust those paddings at the knees if you need to. And with the arms right at the front of the thighs, we keep that core engaged. Let's lean back, squeeze your cheeks just a little bit, lean back into those quads. And then we'll inhale up nice and tall. Exhale, lean it back. Inhale up. One more time, exhale, lean. Inhale, upright, hands come right to those hips. And we're gonna extend one leg out to the side, drop into that squared off position, feeling that inner thigh open up. Let's hinge from the hips. We're gonna take that body forward, take it up tall. Hinge it forward. Take it up tall. One more time, hinge forward. Take it up tall, arms come out to the side, big breath in. As we exhale, that core stays engaged. We're gonna side bend, reach that hand to the ceiling, opposite fingers to the floor. Take it up and over. Again, side bend, reach. Up and over. One more time, side bend, reach. Let's pause here, pulse that leg. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take that body up. We'll side bend. Let's come up tall. Hands come right to the hips, switch it up. Extend that opposite leg out, drop into that squared off position. Feel that inner thigh open up. Big breath in. Exhale, hinge that trunk forward. Inhale up. Exhale and hinge. Inhale up tall. One more time, hinge it forward. Inhale it up, arms come out, and let's take our side bend. And take it over to the other side. Side bend, reach. Up and over. Side bend, reach. We're gonna hold, pulse that leg. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come up nice and tall, side bend to that other leg one final time. We'll bring our hands down by the sides, come back to that kneel, and we'll roll our shoulders back and down. One more time. Flip your palms toward the screen. Squeeze the blades. We're gonna pulse the backs of the hands toward the wall behind us. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Breathe it in. Exhale everything down, and let's make our way down onto our mat. Bend up those knees, line the heels up with those glutes. We're gonna lift our waistline. Let's press our top hand into the floor. Knees lift up and down. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees come down. Top knee alone lifts up and down. 3. Keep that top half of the body nice and still. And 1. Knees down. Feet alone. Come up and down. 3, 2. Hold them up there. Top knee alone. Keep the feet lifted. Here's 3. Here's 2. Hold that knee up there. Thigh stays still. Straighten and bend the top knee. 3, 2, 1. Toes touch. Bottom knee straightens and bends. 3, 2, and 1. Touch the toes. Knees come down. Feet come down, and we move up and down for fire hydrants. 3, 2, 1. Back to hip height. Swing the knee forward. Swing it back. Press that bottom knee into the floor. Here's 3. Here's 4. Line the bottom and top knees up. Straighten that bottom leg out. Fire hydrant lifts with that top leg. 3. We can have that top hand in front for supports. If you'd like, back to hip height. Toes touch that bottom knee. Take them down and up. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straighten the top leg out in line with the body. Swing it forward and back. Forward and back. Twice more. Forward and back. Take it up and down. Last 2. Last 1. Bring it to hip height. Bottom leg comes up and down. There's 4, 3, 2, 1. Everything comes down. Bend those knees up. Pat out that hip. Let's take it up and over to our other side. Home stretch, guys. We're almost there. I'm crushing it. We'll post-lunch workout. Rest on that bottom arm. Knees are forward. Heels line up with those glutes. Top hand presses into the floor. Knees come up and down. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees come down. Top knee alone. 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down. Both feet come up and down. 3, 2. Hold them up there. Open leg clamshell. Top knee up and down. 3, 2. Hold it up there. Top knee straightens and bends. Good. 2, 1. Toes touch. Bottom knee straightens and bends. Try to keep that pelvis as still as you can, even as we hit that last little bit of knee straightening. One more time. Straighten and bend. Knees come down and feet come down. Fire hydrant lifts. 3, 2, 1. Back to hip height. Hinge that knee toward the shoulder. Press it back to the wall. Hinge and press. Good. One more. Press it back. Bring that leg in line with the bottom one. Straighten the bottom leg out. Fire hydrant lifts. Top hand can come down for support. 2, and 1. Back to hip height. Toes touch. Top knee comes down and up. There's 4, 3, 2, 1. Straighten that top leg out. Swing it forward and back. Last 2. Last 1. Swing it back and hold it there. Take it up and down. Lift and lower. Last 2. Last 1. Back to hip height. Bottom leg comes up and down. 3, 2, 1. Take them down. Bend those knees up. Pat out that hip. Let's turn to our backs. Let's line those heels up with the sit bones. We're going to give those knees a little hug into the chest. And let's stir those hips in their socket a little bit. Make some circles each direction. It's okay if your back moves. Release everything. Take a deep breath. As our heels come to the floor, we're going to turn ourselves back over to hands and knees. We'll do one more set. 3 cats, 3 cows. Curl and release. Again, curl, reverse and lengthen. One more time, curl it up. Reverse and lengthen. Let's come back to neutral. Turn those toes under. We'll walk ourselves back up to a flat foot position. Once the weight's over those ankles, let's come up nice and tall. All right, we're going to make our way up to the center of our mat for some balancing. As always, if you do feel like you need a little balance assist, get yourself close to a table, a sofa top, a wall, something that's going to hold you and give you a little bit of input. Keep yourself nice and still. Let's get our weight settled over those feet. They're lined up with our sit bones. And lift those toes, spread them apart. Press them down one at a time. And once that big toe's on the floor, shift the weight toward the balls of the feet. Hover those heels up off the mat. And let's take ourselves up and down on our toes. Here's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take them down. Shift the weight back over the ankles. Shake those legs out. Then we'll make our way to that heel toe position. Big toes press into the floor. Stay up nice and tall. We're going to look side to side. Let's look forward. Shift to the back leg. Find that balance. We can hold it here. We could also tip the body forward a little bit. Hinge from the hips. Maybe we take that leg back behind us a bit. We could be all the way forward, parallel trunk. We could just be a little bit forward, a little bit bent to those hips. We're just changing our orientation to the floor. Let's bring ourselves right back up to that single leg balance. Hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that foot down. Opposite heel comes forward. Heel toe standing. Let's add that weight shift. Add that head turn. We're on our back foot mainly. Now we'll shift all the way to the back foot. Lift up into that single leg balance. With the hands on the hips, we could hinge. Stay right where you are if that was challenging enough. Otherwise, we extend that leg back behind the body. Find that balance point. Let's reorient ourselves up in that nice upright position. Hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Feet come down. Bring them apart. Shake out those legs. Pausing the legs, we'll roll those shoulders back and down. Here's 3, here's 2, and here's 1. Let's take our feet together. Reach up to the ceiling. Big breath in, palms come together. We'll exhale into our center. We're done, guys. Awesome effort for Friday or for any day. And I'm glad you guys came.